Justin feels like he's been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray by his wife.
Well, I mean, his go-to stuff is to try to manipulate her by saying that he made a sacrifice by giving away his dog. That's his choice. And if the dog has issues, that's the right decision to make. Expecting her to just acquiesce that, your sacrifice is greater than her need to be a man with a man that she's attracted to is a completely different thing. And Alexis is not attracted to Justin. He can't even get her drawers.
Ooh. On that note, welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about Lifetime Network's reality-based TV series, Married at First Sight, season number 15, episode number 15.
But before we get into it, please like, share, and subscribe. Please click that notification button so you know when we upload new videos. Please send your comments, and we appreciate you for your support of our channel.
The episode begins where Justin and Alexis are riding back from the couples retreat weekend that they spent with the other couples at the house, the getaway house. And Alexis is commenting about something that Nate said about Stasia being a, air quotes, freak.
Well, she was talking about the developing situation with Nate and Stasia regarding their sexual lives together. And she said that to imply, again, that she's not being fulfilled sexually
Right.
by Justin, because one of the things he made is, I gotta increase my stamina.
Right. She said when Alexis heard that, she said that she wished he had
Yeah,
that.
of course.
And I'm like,
She hearing the girl swinging off a chandelier. Of course she wants that kind of thing going on in her bedroom.
that's freaky dicky stuff, huh?
Yeah, well, not freaky deaky. It's just a couple having sex, exploring their sexual,
Right. Right. There ain't nothing wrong with
nothing
that.
wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But when Justin said that he had increased his stamina, I was like, oh, hell.
What?
I was thinking to myself, Stick Man went tweaky, didn't he? I'm just saying.
What? Snap, clap, pop.
I'm just saying, man. Maybe you need to work on this.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I mean, again, Alexis is exposing this dude. He may be too quick. A year and a half of celibacy doesn't change that. It's like riding a bike. So I'm not sure what he means when he says he needs to increase his stamina. This is a young man. How old is he? 28?
No, 30.
God.
I'm not sure if
I'm not sure if I was him, I would say that.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't put that out there.
Right. But, I guess.
I mean, does Viagra have a new poster boy?
I was just getting ready to say, they got some stuff out there for him, for a brother who needs some help. But at 33?
33, he has no stamina.
32?
Anyway, his stamina level is the way he plays table tennis, perhaps.
No, he was pretty good at that.
He was pretty good, but he didn't have any rhythm. And based on who he was playing with,
he needs some practice.
I'm just saying. But baby girl is not happy, and she doesn't mind letting the world know.
Yeah.
Maya has been at the training facility since he bit Alexis' dog.
Right.
And now he's going to get Maya because he has a friend who is going to take Maya.
Right, Chris, his buddy Chris, has made arrangements to come by their new apartment and pick Maya up, once Justin has gotten back from the training kennel and, just kind of say their last goodbyes.
Chris showed up at the apartment, didn't give him the dog. Of course, he was sad. The dog clearly was sad. Alexis showed up as a support.
Yeah, which was a good move. I think that was that was something where she kind of made the decision at that moment to support her husband because she realized how difficult it would be for him to go it alone, so to speak,
right,
by himself and saying his final goodbyes to a pet that had been in his life from her very beginning.
He hopes she sees the sacrifice he's making
Yeah,
by giving away the dog.
right. He specifically said he hopes that Alexis sees that. Hey, look, the priority is you, not the dog. Okay, and this is what my commitment to our marriage.
Is it really?
So
Because
he said,
that seemed to me like a manipulative and a controlling ploy that he's now using, because she mentioned that he threw it up in her face multiple times prior to this. She understands and she sees what he's doing. Sure, it's a big thing to give away the dog that you love, but he can't use that as to keep her in place.
I think that, one, she already knows what he's doing. She can see that, so there's no reason to keep repeating it and or reiterating it to her, and like you said, kind of holding it, for lack of a better expression, over her head.
You can't be involved in someone who doesn't know who he is as a man, but he can't make a decision on his own, and that's a problem.
Well, I think in this particular scenario, as it relates to Maya, he didn't have a choice, because he's already gotten married. They didn't do their and when I say they, I'm talking about not only Justin but also Alexis as well. They didn't do their due diligence in terms of gradually and slowly introducing their pets together. They just assumed that they would get along, because they knew that at some point in time they had to join, and combine, their living arrangements and or circumstances.
He's using something artificial to try to guilt trip her to remain with him.
That
and
part
no
of it,
one is going to remain with anyone with those circumstances.
that part
under that circumstance.
That part I agree with you about, but I was just talking about the component about him compromising, being willing to compromise simply because of, of what they may not have bothered to consider.
In the first instance,
yeah,
I understand
exactly.
that. But I just think that because he gave away his dog, if he was reading the room, Alexis is not into him. She just had sex with him, and I think they implied that they only had sex once. How is she into them?
Well,
How are they gonna get this going? Every full moon they have sex. Oh God.
well, I don't think that's going to work out for either one of them. But at the same time, I think that they are two people with they're not on the same page in terms of expectations of one another.
Well, they're not on the same page in the same book
In the
in
same
my
library.
mind. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, maybe that's made evident, because here's the thing: Justin and Nate worked out. They got together at a workout, and I didn't get the sense that that's necessarily Justin's thing, is it? Did you get that?
No,
Right.
the dude is low energy.
Okay. All right.
The
all right.
dude can't make up his mind. His decision is based on how Alexis feels, and that's why he was salty when he told Nate that he called her just for affirmation, which is BS,
Mm-hmm.
and she could not answer him, give him a definitive answer as to how she's feeling and what her decision is going to be.
Well, he said, and I understand what you're saying, because as he was talking to Nate, he said he thought that things were good until this afternoon.
How is that possible?
Yeah,
How is that even possible?
he wants Alexis to say yes, and heading into. He wants to be sure that yes is going to come out of Alexis's mouth as it relates to her decision on decision day, and he's like, look, I've already shown her that I'm going to say yes because I gave Maya away to my best friend Chris.
Yeah, I get that, but that makes him a manipulator.
I'm not saying
That
you're wrong.
makes him look like his decision is based on someone else,
right?
and he can't make a decision
On
whether
his
Alexis is good for me or
Right,
not
right.
independently,
Right, on his own.
on
Right.
his own.
I get it.
He needs someone to co-sign it.
So the optics of it is bad.
Yes,
Yeah, I get it.
for
I get
me,
it. I
It
get it.
was
I understand.
bad.
I understand.
And especially with that alpha woman he's dealing with. In his confessional, he
Mm-hmm.
said that Alexis is a liar and
Immature. She's
salty,
immature.
immature.
Right. Immature.
But Nate has been salty towards Alexis since the Ben and Morgan situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that hasn't gone away for him.
Right. While Nate and Justin were working out, Alexis hooked up with Stasia to do yoga.
Right.
And during that little meeting, Alexis confides in Stasia that she is 90% in, right? But
Right.
she wants validation and affirmation from Justin as it relates to his decision heading into decision day.
Do you believe that?
No,
Okay.
no. I think it's something, the words that came out of her mouth to Stasia.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
Okay. She also.
Now, what Nate said, do you see why he said what he said?
I understand why he said it, and
Okay.
that's how she strikes him. You know, that's how he perceives her. He feels like Justin has a tendency to revert back to his old ways.
He wants to go to the club every week.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. Wait a minute. Wasn't it you that said he's not gonna stifle you and smother you because you want to spend time every week, hooking up with your friends and going out to the club?
Maybe she was talking about how he speaks to her. He tends to yell and shout and what
And
have you,
sometimes
and
curse when he
cuss,
gets upset.
and
Maybe.
that's a non-starter. So maybe she's talking about that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what she may have been referencing, but I do know one thing. Justin says that she's deflecting and that he's not on board with it.
So what do you think of Miss Alexis and what she said in this?
I think she's just putting stuff out there for Stasia to hear, and it's not necessarily indicative of where she really is in the process.
I agree with that
With-
100.
Within her marriage, within the context and confines of her own marriage. She is maybe, for lack of a better expression, slightly envious of what Nate and Stasia are doing, and she wishes that she had some of that.
I agree with that 100%.
That's what I think.
Neither of them are a safe place for one another. So we'd like to thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for your sending your comments, and thank you for pressing that like button.
That's all I got.
Nothing about the stamina issue.
Stick man got to make some adjustments. That's all I got to say.
Bye.
You hard on the brother.